are getting ready to film another Disney chat. I look like a turd, but I have Disney ears on, so that's good. Do you have a Disney hat on? No. Shame. He is wearing a Vineyard Vines shirt, though, so maybe a little bit yacht clubby?
Yacht clubby, yeah.
Okay, that's what we are. This video, I debated on what to call it. I was thinking about calling it a bucket list thing, but then he brought up that bucket list, it would be like staying in the Cinderella Castle suite. You know, like things that aren't really possible necessarily for average Joe.
These are more simple things that we should do.
Yeah, so we're really making this like a Disney to-do list. And should we start with ours or should we start with the other recommended?
Ours.
Okay, so we're going to start with ours. These are like some things that we came up with, we just came up with them this morning, about that most people have done or that people recommend, doesn't it seem like? And that we have not done but want to do. Yeah. Like they're high on our list of things.
Yeah, then we'll go into the things that everyone or the Disney experts say that you should do that we
don't care as much about.
Really don't, or it's not our thing.
It's not super priority.
Or where if we did them, we probably would enjoy them, but maybe it's just not our exact cup of tea. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. So okay, these are in no particular order. It's just the order we thought of them. So the first thing we thought of was Phantasmic.
Yeah, and this one I've been thinking about a while.
A long time.
I want to see it. I keep wanting to see it, but for some reason we never get to it, or we're doing something else. Or
and there's been fast passes available for it when we've been in the parks.
Yeah, but we usually want to grab something else.
Yeah.
And this it's one, something I do want to see, and it has been recommended, of course, by a lot of people.
And it looks so cool on all the videos I've seen of it.
It's like, I don't know why we haven't done it. Because we have to go there so early and wait, or I don't know what it is. But
I think that's a lot of it. And now we've done the park so much that the prospect of waiting a while is not as big of a deal.
Yeah, maybe we can waste an hour waiting for it, but that's probably the first thing that came to mind.
Yeah, that's definitely high on the list. And then we had thought about resorts like that we hadn't stayed at, and our number one is the Yacht Club.
Yep.
We want to stay at the Yacht Club so bad, and to be honest, we probably already would have tried to if they were a DVC resort, because that's how we've done deluxe resorts so far, is by DVC point rental. But this one we're going to have to save for.
And I think part of the why we like it so much is if you listed all the Disney resorts previously before we went, we would have said, oh, well, yeah, Wilderness Lodge sounds great because we're from Minnesota. The other themed would seem great, but the Yacht Club before this, that theming would have been way down on the list.
Yeah.
So I think because we had no expectations or even expected to be like, we probably won't like that.
We don't care about nautical stuff. Bullshit.
Yeah, but to show up there and then see it with low expectations or no expectations, it almost blew us away.
It's amazing.
It was so quiet, and I don't know, we just love it.
Quiet is definitely part of it too. And I jokingly call it the snoot factor. We kind of jokingly call it that. We don't really mean that everybody who stays at the Yacht Club is snooty. It's just, the idea that a place is going to be quieter if you're like afraid to make any noise because everybody is snooty and they're going to complain about you, that kind of thing. And I'm sure that sounds silly because, again, we don't mean that we feel that way at the Yacht Club. But it has that that theming that would go along with a place that would be
air of
like
respect,
that.
Or
it is, yeah. An
old, like it's older
people, yeah. And again, we're not
private schooly or something.
Yes. And again, I'm not saying that Yacht Club Resort is that way, because it's not. It's a Disney resort. There's plenty of kids. There's plenty of that, but it had that theming kind of goes along with that. I don't know. We're probably talking ourselves into a hole, and everyone's going to be angry with us.
Yeah,
but
we probably offended somebody or whatever.
But we didn't mean
to.
No, we didn't mean to. We mean this all in an amazing way.
We love it there. Yeah.
We love it there. Plus the smell.
The smell is good.
I mean, just stop for a second, and I bet you can smell it right now in your head.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's the thing, where to compare it to like the Poly, everybody loves the Poly, whatever, but there are 10 times many people around the Poly, which is a factor for us. We like it more quiet, and it sounds silly. We liked it quiet when we go to Disney World.
We like quiet spots.
Yeah.
when we
but
go
you
to
know what I
Disney
mean.
World.
So it's not like we can't do big crowds or you know, but yes, we like to find those quiet areas of Disney.
Yep. Which
Anyway.
brings us to the other resort we mentioned, which is the Wilderness Lodge.
Yeah.
That's one I really, really want to stay at. And I think I'm drawn partly to that because, like we said, we're from Minnesota. We like Duluth and up north. And I know it's modeled after the Pacific Northwest, but very similar
very
to what our...
pine tree wooded log cabin.
If you go to Duluth, Minnesota, up
That's
the
the
North
same
Shore,
kind of thing.
you're going to find very similar things.
Yeah.
The other part of that is, like we were just talking about, the quiet factor. It's typically pretty quiet at Wilderness Lodge.
Yeah.
It's just far enough away that it's typically pretty quiet. And just, you know, I'm picturing sitting
you
out
just
by...
don't get the monorail resorts have the drive-through traffic, basically.
Right, which we will talk about also again at the end. But yeah, the thought of sitting out by Geyser Point, out on the lake, you know, just having
we've
a
had
treat
all
and
good experiences.
all
there.
good experiences, yeah. And then as far as food, Le Cellier in the Canada Pavilion is high on our list.
It's one place we haven't been and we want to go.
Yes, and I know that people who know we're from Minnesota are probably like, oh yeah, because it's Canadian and you're from Minnesota. That has nothing to do with it. Not for me. Probably does a little bit for him, because he sort of sometimes wishes he was Canadian. But
but it's the
but
food,
it's the
steak. And,
steak and potatoes,
Yeah.
and it's like, we've never been inside, but we've seen many videos and pictures and stuff, and it's like kind of a darker, cozier looking atmosphere. Yeah, so that's high on our list. And then the other kind of honorable mention one was the San Angel Inn. I think that's
the one.
the one it
inside,
is.
It's the one inside the Mexico.
It's the one inside the Mexico Pavilion. And he doesn't like Mexican food, really. I do.
Taco Bell.
Yeah, I mean, but you're a little fussier.
Yeah.
I do like Mexican food, but this is not about the food whatsoever.
This is the ambiance.
This is the ambiance. Sitting right there, watching the Grand Fiesta boat ride go by, and it just...
Again, it's dark. And
it's dark, and
we
it's...
like
We like the darkness.
We're not sun people.
We're vampires. Okay, so one of the bigger ones was the Keys to the Kingdom tour. We're not big tour people in general. They're expensive and they take up a large chunk of your day. But this particular one looks really interesting.
I think we're to the point where we've hit the parks enough and that we could spare 3 hours to go do a tour. And it would be interesting that we're into... You have to be into Disney more, I think, to get, you want the history and the backstory.
I think
and all
so.
that.
Yep, and there's like some backstage-ish tours of rides and things. In fact, I think this one might be the one that includes the tour of the Haunted Mansion's ballroom scene.
Yeah, I don't know.
I can't
Whatever
remember.
that one is, that's the one we want.
I think that's the one we want. So we may be wrong about the name of the tour. We don't know. We haven't done a ton of
I
research
think
yet.
there's different ones, aren't there?
There are different ones. So yeah, we'd be looking for probably one of the slightly shorter ones, not like the 8 or 10 hour, because there are like whole day ones. But it's definitely, a tour is definitely on our list of things we'd like to do. We had been going to mention like dessert parties, and then we realized we did the dessert party that is the one that we'd want to do. So if any of you have done the other dessert parties, we've done the Happily Ever After dessert party, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
So if any of you have done the other ones and could recommend that one of them is, you know, above and beyond or worth it, aside from the show, like the dessert party itself, because for us, the other shows are here, and Happily Ever After is so high up I couldn't possibly reach it with 20 arms. So, yeah. The other thing the other category, well, wait, let's do this first. So also kind of foodish, drinkish, Trader Sam's.
Oh.
That's someplace we've wanted to go. In fact, we were almost going to go in on one of our trips, and I was not feeling super great, and we made the decision not to go. But we would really like to go in there. It's a bar, and our primary reason would not be going in there to drink, but it's because of the atmosphere, the ambiance,
Yeah, it's supposed to be really cool
It
in there.
looks like a really cool place.
Seems like it's to be interactive with like storms or whatever happens in there.
Yes, and like when people order certain drinks, they make a big production out of it, and people order those things a lot because they like to see the production, so it'd be fun to be involved in that. It just seems like a really cool experience.
Yeah.
So that's high, too, on the list. And then the last category we did was rides or shows, like in-park experiences, which I guess Phantasmic kind of is that, too. Mine is Rise of the Resistance because I haven't done it yet. I was supposed to get to do it in April. Dang COVID-19. Didn't get to do it. So that's high on my list. And yours is...
I want to see Carousel of Progress. And it's such an old classic one, but I've never been in there yet.
Well, and we know the song, The Great Big Beautiful Tomorrow, because everybody sings
and
it.
It just seems sad, like that's part of the huge Disney history, and I haven't been in there yet.
And we've never done it, yeah.
That's kind of sad.
Yeah. So, those are our two ride things. So the last little chunk of this is going to be a pretty short one, which everybody's sighing a sigh of relief, right?
That's good.
The last little grouping here, we just came up with some things that you will always find on a list of what you should do when you go to Disney World that, well, we'll go down item by item. None of these are things we hate or would never do. They're just not as high priority for us.
Yeah.
So the first one was the California Grill. Obvious reasons everybody likes to go there. The view of the parks. Everybody says the food is so amazing. For us, the view of the parks seems great.
Yep.
The ability to take your receipt and go watch the fireworks later, great. The food, we're kind of like plain old meat and potatoes folks.
Yeah, so we're not excited for the food part of it.
No, when we look at the menu, it all looks a little bit too fancy for us. So again, we would love comments from people who are picky eaters or don't like fancy food or whatever. If there is something you've eaten there that's amazing, then that'd be great, because then we would have, a for sure reason to go. We will go someday because I think it would be really fun.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Country Bear Jamboree was another one. It just seems like a classic.
Yeah.
And
everybody loves it, they seem like.
Everybody loves it. And that's honestly just one that we just never have made time for. It's not one that we've avoided.
We actually haven't seen a lot of those type. We haven't seen Mickey's PhilharMagic. We haven't seen Frozen Sing-Along or the Nemo show or the Lion King show.
We just don't make time for shows.
We haven't done a lot of shows.
We're too busy doing the rides and everything else, so...
And we just haven't been wanting to commit that much time, I don't think.
Nope.
Yet.
So I think that's definitely coming in the very near future.
Yeah.
And Country Bear is one that seems like it would be really funny to me. So, yeah, it's not like super high priority, but it's one that we'll definitely do.
I think if we get another 100-degree index trip, then we should do some of those.
Like, go through our videos and find the ones from October.
Yeah. How miserable we were outside.
Yeah.
So that's the one we needed to do it.
That's when we needed to do it. The next one is Hoop-de-Doo. Now, the food seems great to us. The like family style, so you can eat the things you like, you don't eat the things you don't like. It seems very like meat, potatoes, vegetable, or the breakfast also. All seems really good. It's the potential for the characters to interact with you.
I think we would want to, I've heard we want to eat on the top level because you're out of it a little bit.
Yep. Because neither one of us would be, like, when I say we'd be unhappy, that doesn't even begin to describe how we would feel if we were called on to go up. It would not be fun for us.
Yeah.
Don't you think? That would not be fun. I would be panicked, I would be awkward, and I would walk out of there not remembering a fun experience.
Yeah. I don't think you could get over if someone grabbed you.
I don't think so. I'm way too introverted for that.
I am too.
Yeah,
I probably could overcome it a little bit.
Or I could fake it if I had to.
Yeah.
But, so that is
certainly is something we wouldn't choose to do.
No. So honestly, I think first we'll go to Trail's End restaurant to try the food. And then maybe someday we'll be convinced.
And it sounds like it would be a fun show to watch. It would be the interactive
But
part
I think we would definitely request.
And it seems like it's big table seating with families and stuff. And we're not crazy about that either. So that definitely we would want to be upstairs on our own table.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. And then let's see, Ohana. A lot of dining experiences. And again, we don't really care about the character dining. That's just not our thing. I understand why people love it, and it's great, but it's just not our thing. But you don't have to do character dining there, I don't think, right? I think it depends on when you eat there. I could be wrong.
Is it just breakfast character
I thought it was just breakfast. I could be wrong. Although breakfast is the meal I would really like to eat there, because the food is more appealing to me. But, yeah, it's at the Polynesian. We do like the Polynesian. We talked about that before. It looks like a beautiful restaurant. I'm sure the food is great. So it's not like a place we'll never go.
Yeah.
But we would never fight for a reservation to go there.
Yeah.
So, Again, my sister and I were supposed to go there, but thank you, COVID. Okay, let's see. One more. Oh, the only other thing on the list was, and we talked about this a little bit before, the monorail resorts. Whether it's the Grand Floridian, the Contemporary, or the Polynesian. Everybody, you've got to stay at those. They're right next to Magic Kingdom. You have to do that. I don't have a huge desire to stay at those resorts for the monorail reason. Now, the Grand Floridian looks gorgeous.
Yeah,
I'd love to stay there for that.
They're all,
yeah.
The Grand and the Poly are beautiful.
Beautiful.
The Contemporary, I don't know if you can say it's beautiful.
It's cool.
It's cool.
It's cool.
And I'd want to stay there because when I was young, that's what I pictured. Here's the monorail going through this building, and it's the Contemporary. That was
the big
first
old
one there.
Disney resort, the original Disney resort.
That would be cool to stay there for that, for sure.
So they do have those appeals for us.
Yeah.
But being on the monorail does nothing for me. Does it do anything for you?
It would be nice in some sense of convenience to grab the monorail and go to the Magic Kingdom. The Contemporary does have that, where you could walk. And now they're building the bridge from the Grand, so you can walk from either of those.
This is true.
So those
and the Polynesian, you can walk to the TTC. So
yep, and you can walk to the Grand and then eventually the Magic Kingdom.
This is
so
true.
Once they put that bridge and that's finished, that will have a lot more appeal. Where if I could walk to the Magic Kingdom, that would be great.
That's true. That may make those resorts more appealing to us because, and I'm going to speak just for myself, not for you, but I don't like the monorail. It's stuffy and hot. It's overcrowded. You sometimes sit there for what seems like a very large chunk of time, not knowing if it's because one is broken down or you're waiting for people. I don't enjoy it. And that has been made worse by my recent absolute madly in love state with the Skyliner. It is my favorite thing in the entire universe. This coming from somebody who is afraid of heights. So that makes it much harder for me to like the monorail.
Yeah, and in general, those three are much more populated than the other ones.
They can be very crowded,
particularly All Stars, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, and particularly when there's something going on at one of the parks. Like we tried
go ahead.
We tried to enjoy the Grand Floridian at Christmas, and we were there right around like 3:00, so like an hour before people could get into the parks for the Christmas party.
Yeah, it was a madhouse.
Oh my goodness! Do not ever go to look at Christmas decorations at the Grand Floridian an hour before the Christmas party starts.
Yeah.
It wasn't fun.
And it's a lot more people that aren't staying there at those resorts because of them. People are riding their monorail and stuff. So,
don't you think staying at Old Key West has played a factor in that for us too?
Yeah.
Because there is almost no one wandering around Old Key West that isn't staying there.
Yeah.
Or at least that's what it feels like.
You have no reason to go there. And it's not easy to get to.
There might be the occasional people who like pop over to look at it from Disney Springs.
Yeah.
But there's also not enough going on at Old Key West
to make them stay there.
To make them stay.
Yeah.
So that's kind of ruined us. Old Key West has kind of ruined us for other resorts. So, yeah. And we're going to wrap this up, but I don't know if we've talked about this before or not, but I'm going to because it's kind of a crapville time for everybody right now with coronavirus and all of that. So we're going to talk about something exciting like Disney. We have 2 trips coming up. One we've definitely talked about, which we're staying at Saratoga Springs in November. I'm excited about that one.
Yeah, hopefully.
I'm tentative because it's still in 2020, and 2020 has just really been trying to beat us all down, hasn't it?
But hopefully if they get open by July 11th or whatever they're planning.
That's the day, yeah. So hopefully that'll be fine. My sister and I also have a trip planned in October to stay at the All-Star Resort, so hopefully that one goes well too. But our next trip, is at Saratoga Springs. I'm really excited about that. I think that will have a little bit of the quiet air of Old Key West, but approaching more of the like kind of a middle ground between that and the more popular resorts because it's right there at Disney Springs.
And it'll be right before Christmas, so all the Christmas merch will be out, and we'll be at Disney Springs all the time looking at it.
And look out for the video where we admit that we had to buy 2 new suitcases and check them because we didn't have enough space for all of our Christmas souvenirs. So looking forward to that. And then the other one that I can never remember what I filmed. I never keep track of myself, so I don't know if we've actually announced this, but We're staying at the boardwalk in January. We're giddy about it.
Yeah, and that's going to be the opposite kind of trip.
Mm.
We're going to be super low key, and I'm envisioning the nights where it's late and let's just go back to the room. But in this case, we have the room and we can walk down to the boardwalk.
Yep.
At 10 o'clock at night when it's quiet and dark, or
I am also
quiet,
imagining,
and then be able to go rock back to the room.
Yes, and we were just talking about how, as I'm wearing my animal print ears, we probably should visit Animal Kingdom at least a couple of times on our November trip, because other than of course you have to go to Magic Kingdom at least once, the castle and all of that. I envision this to be an Epcot and Hollywood Studios
just a walk
heavy
to Epcot
trip.
and to the Skyliner at Epcot.
Yeah.
Go to Hollywood Studios.
Yeah. So we're super excited about that. I'll put a link to David's DVC in the description box below, because that is who we go to all of these resorts through. We have never paid full regular price for any of the deluxe resorts. We've done it all through them, and they're great. But otherwise, I think that's it. So that's our list of to-dos. If anybody watches this video and has any ideas for us that we didn't bring up, or that you think maybe we should add to our to-do list, throw them in the comments. We're always looking for ideas for upcoming Disney trips. And that's it. We'll see you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.